They will just lie. I can't prove it. That is what I hear all the time when I'm talking about people standing up to their employers in the UK. So let's talk about it while I get ready for this meeting and what you can do about it. Because the reality is you have more leverage than you think. Okay, first off, let's be real. Employers do lie. Not all employers. There are some great employers in the UK, but a lot of them do lie because they've been able to get away with it for so long. And they've been able to get away with it because people in the UK really do not know what their rights are, how the process works, how you would prove an employer, none of it. Like, we did some research on this, which we're releasing very soon, and it's shocking. And it's human nature. If you can get away with something, often you will. And so I think as a rule, employers have gotten pretty used to just saying, I never said that, or we didn't do that, and just really expecting to get away with it. But if you take too much advantage for too long, then people start to wake up and say, hey, what's going on here? I'm pretty sure this isn't okay. And that's what's happened. So you can prove your employer wrong, and it's easier than you think. I'm gonna give you 3 methods for doing it. The first one is simple: keep the evidence yourself. Literally just write down what happened in a meeting, keep an email that said, I am no longer putting you forward for that promotion, whatever it is, just write it down yourself, and that is evidence. Take notes about who said what to you. That is evidence. It is the simplest, most powerful thing that you can do, and that's why we made it free on the Vala platform for you to keep track of all of the events, because it's so powerful. The second way that you can do this is you can use a subject access request. Now, this doesn't always deliver because the ICO's enforcement is not great, but you can send a subject access request to any company in the UK, including your employer, about all the personally identifiable information that is held about you. And if you scope it to within a specific workplace issue, you're much more likely to get them to actually comply. And when it works, it can yield amazing evidence for a tribunal claim. And the third thing is that your employer, if you get into a tribunal process, is legally obligated to give you any evidence that they have about that claim, whether or not it's good for them. That's called the disclosure process, and it happens after you file a claim during the disclosure section, which typically happens after a preliminary hearing and before the final hearing when you're putting together the evidence bundle. Now, I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say, Danae, they'll just pretend like they don't have it. Well, this is where something like keeping the email yourself and filing subject access request can help. So let's say, for example, that they comply with the subject access request, but they heavily redact the document to the point where it's not usable anymore. But they did send you the document. You can prove the document does exist. Well, the redactions that are allowable via a subject access request are different to what they're allowed to redact when it gets into tribunal. So then you've got the document and you can go to the tribunal and say, I would like this unredacted, please, because I believe that the contents are material to this case. And then the judge can say, I would also like to see the contents of that, and they can order your employer to actually provide the full document.